Hi everyone.
Hello.
She's getting in early today. Welcome to today's Hooray, it's Thursday with Courtney. And today I've got Maeve here, but she is going to disappear, so that's okay. It's good to see you all. Today we're going to continue with this month's challenge of using up some of our scraps. So inspired by our beautiful Japanese paper, totally left field today, and today we're going to play with cardstock. So cardstock that, as you can see from my desk, I have lots of little fiddly scraps. I pulled those over because these are just some random background pieces that I had already cut. So actually that's not even a current color, so that's fine. So we've got a whole heap of scraps today. We're going to use our adhesive sheets again. I've got our stylish shapes dies, but we're also going to play with you in mind. Okay, so this is a great little stamp set. It's our RP is $35, but essentially it's got everything that you might want to use on there, and a little picture to go with each one. So we've got 4 sentiments, but 5 pictures. So it's up to you. I've popped out, because I'm not sure where I'm going with it yet, the flower, the cake, and the happy birthday, because it's definitely going to be a happy birthday card. And I'm going to use from my stash. Now, what I've added to it is, of course, an envelope, some basic black cardstock, and some white inners. Because I'm not sure where this is going to take us. Okay, so we've got lots of different colors to play with. There's heaps of white in here, as you will notice, but that's okay. So there is lots of little, in our stylish shapes, I've just cut out one of the images from one of the catalogs. In our stylish shapes, we've got all these little, I thought these were a good idea. There's lots of squares and circles, but this is a really good long skinny one, and it gives you, you'll notice some of these will actually fit in here and a lot of them won't, but if we can get them to fit in there, then that's a really good bonus, because some of them, that's a nice way to use some of them, is you can just cut them up with your dies, sit in front of the telly and chop to your heart's content. Okay, productive without being active is probably a good way of putting that. So just keep that in mind. You've got all those. The circles make great fillers. They make great little backgrounds and things like that. So you can use all of those, and we will be using, actually I'll keep that one out so that I don't have to keep going in there, and we will be using this guy here, because all of these are long skinny strips. So we might get started. What do you reckon? Okay, so I've got lots of scraps. I'm going to just actually cut up one of these pieces of basic black, because I'll keep one as my card base. So this one will be my card base. So I'll just fold her in half. I find that black's a bit harder to see when I'm doing my folding, and I should really score it, but I have a tendency not to. So just came basic black cardstock, and the reason why I chose basic black is because I don't know if you saw in here, there's heaps of little basic black scraps. There's heaps of brights. We've been playing with quite a lot of brights. Some of them you'll notice are quite thick and quite long. They're the whole length of the A4 piece of paper, but then others are quite skinny. So because we're doing that, and essentially you can use any piece of cardstock. This, oh no, that's actually a Zoo Afternoon, so that can stay. I was going to say that was a retired one, but it's not. So my card front is going to end up 9.5 centimeters by 14 in this particular day. Look, and there's another scrap. Okay, so you can use any color that you like as your background. All right, and there's lots of different things we can do with it. Some of it could just be plain old boring stripes. All right, and you're going to pick, oh look, there's some silver. Oh, we could actually pop some silver in there. That'll be pretty. that the main thing is in this, for one particular card, we want them to be straight. Other cards, you might not necessarily want them to be straight. Nobody said nobody said they had to be the same thickness, but if you get a bit of a variety of color, so let's look at, there's a heap of brights and whatnot in here, so let's pull all the brights out. Hey, what do you reckon? I wonder what I was making. There's another poppy parade. Well, that one's seen a bit of, as you'll see, if you put our cardstock rested in the light, it does go a bit yuck. So you just want to be aware of that. I keep these in the cupboard. That one's not going to work. What else have we got in here? Oh, look at that nice skinny blue. I've even got some, remember this colour? That's Bermuda Bay. We won't use that because some of you won't have that. So pull out a few colours. We need a yellow, don't we? Oh, there's some Daffodil Delight here. It's nice and thick, and there's a little bit of, that's our Darling Duckling. We're using that on the weekend. What else do we need? Might have it, well, we can actually just miss a space and have some black. Okay, so you can do that. What I'm doing there, oh look, there's a skinny piece of silver. We'll use that. Nice blue. And have I got some, there's some fresh freesia. Now it's pulling out the grey matter. There's some soft sea foam. So using our, I had half a sheet out already to use, but that's okay. Using our adhesive sheets again. So these are the, hi Chris, how you going? These are the adhesive sheets. I thought I had one. I had one out, but I don't know, it's developed some legs, you know, as they always do. So we're going to make it the same size as our panel. Okay, these are 12 inches long, so in this case, and 6 inches wide. I don't need it that big, so I will chop that little bit off the end. I can use that for something else. Just use it to stick something to the back of something. Now, that's Azure Afternoon. That's not going to really work. Oh, there's some Coastal Cabana. Let's see if that's going to fit. Because our piece is going to go on here. That Coastal Cabana is too small. But that piece of, that looks like crushed curry is going to work perfect. Look at that. Okay. Hello, how you going? So I got crushed curry and black so far, and then all of these bright colours. Since that Coastal Cabana wasn't going to work, let's throw a little bit of that in for good measure. Okay. Let's skinny this piece up. I'm just going to chop a centimetre off it. All right, and I saw some crushed curry in here because we need to bring that to the front now. This piece is just shy of 2 centimetres wide. I might, because it's only going to be, I only want a little bit. I love how our trimmer will do this and just cut nice skinny pieces. So we'll just add those to the kit. And I'll swap them out for that DAF because the DAF won't work when we've got that one. Okay. All right. So a couple of things that you can do here. You can completely cover this on an angle with strips of paper. Same deal as we did last time. Peel a bit of this off. And we're going to line it up and stick it on our paper. The other thing that you can do is you can stick all of the long strip, wants to wiggle, all of the long strips onto it and go from there. So I'm just going to stick it all down on this black piece of cardstock first though and pull it up one little bit at a time. Okay, that was not part of the plan. Okay, and we'll just, all right, force that into submission there. And hopefully we won't notice it when we do the other bit because it's a bit, okay, so we'll start at that end. I'm just going to peel. I'll start by peeling that off a little bit. All right, peel it off. It's up to you whether you do an angle or whether you do it straight up and down. Sorry, it's a bit fuzzy. It doesn't want to play nice. Let's see if I put that there. Now it's going to focus. Okay. So that's the stamp set we're using. I might just stick it to the side here so it's got something to focus on. So if you're going to do it straight, you have to use your grid lines to make sure that you're doing it straight. If you're going to do it on an angle, you start on an angle and you finish on an angle. So because it's easier to go on an angle, I'm going to go on an angle because then it's not going to matter later. Now, some of these skinnier strips, we can actually interlace with these black ones. Because we've got the tape already down there, we don't want to put the black, we're going to have to put the black straight. We're going to have to put some black on it. Now, if you want your strips to go in all different angles, what you're going to have to do is cut some of these black ones crooked. Okay, because we don't want it all to be straight, all right? And we don't want it all to be on the one angle. So what we can do is to throw a spanner in the works. See how I've just got that on a bit of an angle there? All right. And now I've got two angle pieces. You can do it with some of the colours as well, just to make it so it doesn't look like they're all straight, but make sure they're long enough. And we'll do that with some of this fresh freesia. So again, just tilt it to the side a bit and go like so. Okay, and that just gives us a couple of little angled pieces. So let's throw a bit of black in here. And you could even throw some white in if you wanted. I'm just butting it up against that. We'll put a little bit of silver. But make sure you butt it up against, and the black is a bit difficult to see, so you probably should have a light over the top of what your workspace. And we'll let's pop some blue. That's as crooked as a dog's hind leg, that bit of blue. And we'll have some of the fresh freesia that I cut really badly. Okay, and just keep going backwards and forwards until you get your background. Okay, add a bit of black in just to, that brings back through that back piece. Okay, and I'm thinking that I would like, let's bring some orange in. And then I'm going to need another piece to send it back in the other direction. I'm just butting that up against that one. Okay, and we're just working along until we've run out of colour, run out of scraps. This is a nice fat one. Let's make it a bit thinner. Okay, great for blokey cards, great for just kids cards, a bit of fun, bit funky. And all right, you might actually do the same. This is pool party. I might make it thinner and do it too, because I noticed it's already crooked. And it makes it so you can be a little bit forgiving. Okay, so let's lemon lime twist, and we're going to put it that way because I want to throw it back to the other direction. And I didn't butt that against it. Very cool, very good. Try not to end up with a black bit in the middle. We have a pair of snips here because we're going to need another silver strip. And then we'll have a little piece of Cool Party. All right. Piece of beautiful Poppy Parade. This is testing my knowledge of all the colours, isn't it? And we might need another piece of black. And, oh, how straight do I want it? Let's make it a bit fatter up there. So it looks pretty good. It's just going to come out all higgledy-piggledy, and just to provide a little bit of, it's just a little bit different more than anything else. This one's nice and thick. We'll do a thick one. And then we're going to have a thin, another fresh freesia. And pop that one there. A little bit of Coastal Cabana. And you could do this with, what's it called? You could do this with, oops, that's not very straight. You could do this with designer series paper as well. Okay. Because you can just mix your patterns up. All right. And we'll just butt that one up against there. So now I've got a nice big mess. Take your trimmer and we're going to trim it down. Okay, so you can cut it with your scissors if you wanted to, but we've got a trimmer, we might as well use it. So line up my edges, and now I've got all these little pieces here that are just going to float around, but that's all right. Got to hold your tongue in the right spot because you want them to be straight. And then we'll cut that piece off there and that piece off there. So I now have a really nice funky background. Okay, so that's one way that you can use it. So I've got a background there. Okay, another way you can do it, you can do a few other things with it. All right, so that's one background. Let's cut some of these guys, and it will cut two at a time. So I'm going to cut two at a time because nobody needs to sit here and watch me die cut heaps of these, and I was not prepared earlier for them. Actually, you know what? You don't need to watch me die cut all of that. The other thing that we can do, I'll come back, I'll do another one. Hi, Cheryl. I'll do another one another day with die cutting all of these out, and I'll just have a whole heap die cut ready so that you can see them. You guys know how to die cut. You don't need to watch me do that. All right. So another thing that we can do, if we don't have a something that we actually are ready for, and we want to use a whole heap of these little guys, where did that little strip of paper go? Okay, we've got this little tiny strip of the adhesive tape. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you can do with this and these. You can actually make flags with them. You can use it to adhere them. But what we can also do is we've got all of these perfect little oh, for want of a better word, oh, I didn't bring the marker over. Okay, I can actually make banners with them. So I can sit and make my own banners. Okay, easy peasy. All right, you can actually use, we'll use the other half of this. I'm going to cut a 3 centimetre strip. Oh, watch your blade doesn't fall out. Watch your blade does, oh, helps if you put it back in the right way. Okay, so same deal, stick all of these on it, okay? Then what you can do is you can actually, any of your ends, you can banner them off. But that can be a small piece for the back, but it also can be a feature piece. So we can cover this piece here in adhesive. Okay. And we're going to do that. If you notice that your track gets a bit dirty, you can use one of these little scraps of your paper, fold it in half, okay, from the top, run it all the way down your trimmer, and look at all the fluff and stuff that comes out the end, okay? Keeps your blade cutting nicely. So that was 3 centimetres, so I'm just going to do this as 2.5. And again, it only needs to be by 14 because that's all I've cut it. So I'll leave that little bit there. I don't want it hanging up over the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this onto here. These little peely off bits come in here, so handy. I'm going to stick it down the middle. Okay, so we've got a full background piece that's all of our shaved pieces, and we're going to end up with another piece that's that's the same but different. Okay, so again, I'll take off, but this time I'm actually going to I've left the take a pick tool on the table over there, so I'm relying on really crappy fingernails. Gotcha. All right, and I'm going to pull the whole thing off. All right, line it up using your mat for your first piece. Okay, so let's use this really pretty, this is Highland Heather. Your first piece, you need to make sure it is straight, because if you get that first piece straight, you'll get all the others straight. And there is a reason why. You'll work. No, this one's better. There is a reason why I only want that piece in the middle. And I'm going to do them all at different lengths. Now, where's that silver piece gone? Oh, you're too little. Let's put a big piece of silver in there. All the bottom ones are going to end up all different lengths, but the top ones essentially not. We'll have a bit of that one's soft sea foam, a little bit of Poppy Parade. These ones are straight, so a little bit different. Same but different. We need a bit of black. Probably a bit thick, but that's okay. Oh, look, here's some garden green. Yeah. Here's a thin piece of black. So let's go with a thin piece of black. And these are all different widths. Again, just butting it up against that. I had some melamando in here. Where's that gone? I was sure of it. Oh, it's quite thick still. But we need, these are really, look at how thin this piece is. Why was I keeping that, you say? Especially for this sort of occasion. I'm going to put that nice thin piece on there too in some spot. But I wanted some melamambo. And it's quite wide. So I don't want it that wide. That's not going to work. So just rat through your pile. Look there. No, that won't work next. I've got all different thicknesses of black in here too. You could put some white on there if you wanted to. Maybe we need some pumpkin pie. What do you reckon? Here's a bit. Okay, some pumpkin pie in there. And a really thin dark blue, a thick, another black. Ah, this is what we need, but we need it thinner. So we're going to make a scrap. Oopsie. Sticking to everything. And I want it straight this time, remember? So these ones are all straight. And there is a method in my madness. You're going, no, there's not, Court. No, there's not. Oh, we haven't got any fresh freesia on here. Oh, look at that. What colour can we put down that skinny side? Let's have, we've got two skinny sides. If I do, I can put, no, you'll fit down there. And you'll fit down there. Okay, so now they're actually all straight. So there's something I'm going to do here with these. Again, I'm going to cut them off because, and I want that side of them. So these ones on this side are actually going to get cut off. Down this side. And I'll take that guy off there. And I'm going to take that little dude off there. Okay, so that's going to give me that look. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is using my snips, I can actually go in and I can flag these. Did you see that snips have been retired? There was a thing on there to say that there's to be informed in the inventory list, but because they might have some still coming from the States, but the manufacturer of our snips is no longer going to be making them. They will look at getting another company to make some sort of scissors for us. We won't be left without scissors, but they're still looking into it. And as you can imagine, if you just did all of these with your dies, this will be so much easier if you had bucket loads of dies already cut out. And they've got that pretty stitching around them, but that's okay. I am doing a dog's breakfast of a job. So we can flag all of these. So I'm actually going to do that and continue to do that. So just talk amongst yourselves. Have you seen the current special that's on? Is that with designer series paper, not designer series paper, our paper that is two-sided. So one side, they're all 12 by 12. One side is the lighter color of the, so if you've got your soft sea foam. One's the regular soft sea foam color, and the other one is the lighter color of it. And they are so pretty. They've got a white core, which means you can do so many different techniques with them. So they're really good, but they're 20% off at the moment. So if you're a scrapbooker, or if you like to do technique stuff, you can actually get 6 card fronts out of each piece of 12 by 12. Oopsie. So which is good value. And we'll do this. So if you're this will make, like, you could do this in a monotone colors. You could do this in a whole variety of different things. Nobody said these had to be flagged, but they look really good flagged. That's why we're very patiently making confetti with a whole heap of paper. Hi Marnie, how you going? Nice to see you joining us here today. We're just using up some scraps because I have an abundance of them. All right, so today is a cardstock scrap. So, and we've already decided next week's going to be, we're going to continue to use different sorts of ways we can use our little fiddly bits up. So we're going to do some die cutting next week, and we're going to use some die cuts and whatnot next week. So I can get ready, but you guys can be ready for me to do that. Stylish Shapes is a very good one for that, because it has so many different little bits. But essentially any set of dies that you've got that's got a little, you know what, this one's just going to get packed onto it. All right, so there's another one. Okay, so depending on what you want to do depends on how you do it. That looks amazing along the bottom of a card. Okay, so we've got 2 different cards here. I've got the words happy birthday out. We've got heaps of white in here. All right, so birthday's not going to fit on that piece. But look, wait, there's more. I can fit the word birthday on there perfectly. So you can do this. We'll turn this one here into a birthday card. Okay. What we're going to do is, for Chris, we might do a portrait card. A landscape card, sorry. Where is... I don't know what I did with the actual card piece. Oh, here. So at the moment, we've got this happening. What do you think? All right. Looks pretty funky, doesn't it? Portrait, landscape. Okay? Either way, it's going to work. If you wanted to, you could put this on a white card base or a different color card base to match with your other pieces, but that's up to you. If I had a balloon die out, I could have put a balloon on it. Okay, but I'm thinking stars are the go, because see how it's all different shapes? Stars are nice and pointy. I did have the cake cut out ready to go, but yeah. So I brought over with me I brought over Memento, and I brought over lemon lime twist, pumpkin pie, granny apple green, the whole kit and caboodle. All right, see what I mean? How good does that look? All right, so there's lots of different things that you can do. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. So we've got 2 different card fronts here that we can play with. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? Look at that one. All right, so it depends on what you want to do. Okay, but we can do our sentiment in black. Oops, so everything's all wobbly. Or we can do it in colour. So I brought over a whole heap of colours, but I'm thinking I am going to do my sentiment in black. And I really like this nice big sentiment. I want the word birthday. And I am putting some room on one end of it because I want to know, like I want to cut it out. Then I've got the word happy, and I'll find a thinner piece because, you know, we've got a box full of scraps here. And there's the word happy. Okay. And there is a cleaner here. So we don't want to get it everywhere. Now I'm going to trim the word birthday down a bit, just because I can, and because it's got some little marks up the top up here. All right. So happy we can just use our snips, okay? Because I'm going to do a little bit of a angle with happy. But birthday, I want that to stay nice and straight. All right, so I'm just going to take that little tiny smidge off the top of that because I want to ditch those little dots that are on there. Okay, and that needs to be 9.5 because then that is the same size as that card front. Okay, so that means that that will match onto there. All right, so I'm just going to trim down this Azure Afternoon cardstock piece. 10, look at those skinny little pieces, by 14.5. Could use those on there. And then it's just a matter of working out which way up we would like our pieces to be. Okay. And ta-da, we have a happy birthday card. All right. This one here, I'm just going to show you so that you can see it's a little bit different. Sorry, I'm getting a bit low here on the table. All right. I'm going to pop that one on there, that one on there, and then if you wanted to, whoops, you could actually put the happy birthday on here. So depending on what you want to do, depends on how we're going to play it. Okay, might finish that one later and we'll just work with this one. Okay, this will also work if we do it that way. Okay, because it just works. Nobody said that these pieces have to be straight. Now there's some little, we've got star elements, we've got hearts, we've got cake elements. So depending on what you wanted to do, I'm thinking stars would be fabulous on this. So I'll put my cake away and get out some stars. All right. And then we're going to stamp some stars too. Again, we've got this nice little bit of scrap here. And we'll do some different colour stars. Nobody said that, all right, we don't want to do them all the same colour. Actually, that will look better if we don't. So we're going to bring in a few of the colours. Okay. do a poppy grade one as well. Okay, and I do have granny apple green over here, but I've run out of cardstock there. Could just look back in my stash. So we'll cut these guys out. There's not a die for these. You will need to fussy cut them. Okay, easy to fussy cut them. Go into each one. I am cutting them like I've got a die for them, so I am leaving a little bit of a white edge around them. Okay, and then go from there into the other one. Okay. But yeah, essentially I am leaving a little bit of a white edge around each one, just so that they stand out off that. And then I am actually going to round each of the tips because they were nice and close to that edge. So I'll just round them off a bit. So everybody's the same. They don't need to be long and pointy. All right, looking good, hey?
I like it.
Okay. Or you can turn your scissors and go up the other side. That one there's going to have to sit underneath somebody because the point's got points off the edge. All right. They're straight lines, so they're easy to cut out. So it's sort of fussy. It's fussy cutting, but it's fussy cutting that's not difficult. Sorry, Amanda. Saw a shirt online the other day that essentially said fussy cutting is a swear word. And 3 is actually probably the ideal number of these. You don't want, because I will also put some white gems on it, or white dots, because Nanny, who's sitting behind me right now, just loves pearls on cards. So she's not a fan.
Well, not on that. That looks fabulous.
All right. So there's lots of things you can do with this. You can send your little scrappy pieces through the cut and emboss machine. I actually brought it over with me to do that, but all right, let's just use 3 of them. Okay. So we've got our happy birthday is, I think this needs flags on the end of it as well. So I'm just going to go like so. And then I will match it to match it on the other end. Hey. We need, I've got this piece here to make sure that the angle is the same. You can just, it's really hard to see, but it's on, oh, if I get it right, you can see the shadow of it. And then you can use it as your ruler so that it ends up the same angle down the other end. Okay, so let's glue this baby together, hey? Because we haven't done the inside either, but that's all right. If you're a fibre person and you want to add some fibre, my suggestion is something messy, something fun. Don't be too formal with it. So something that can be pulled apart and messed up and tied in knots and all that sort of stuff. The baker's twine is really good for that, like, because you can make it a messy, almost like a messy bun. Actually, I wonder if it'll fit that way. Oh, it will.
No, it doesn't look good.
Doesn't look as good though, does it? No. It really needs to be a landscape card. So it's definitely going to be, it's going to turn into a landscape card, this one. All right. I'm going to use that on it. You're all going, what? How? Where? Why? So that one's going to go there. We need some dimensionals because I want to stick that, make that stick up. So don't be stingy with your dimensionals because we don't want it to sort of flatten down a bit. Okay. I'm going to stick dots on it. Shh, don't tell her.
Yuck.
I've got black dots. Black dots will work. And my happy's going to have dimensionals under it as well. I think it needs dots. What do you guys think? Do we go with Nanny and say no dots, or do we
Make the dots.
have dots?
Certainly not purple. Show me the dots.
Dots.
Oh, the dots are all right.
So this one here, remember how I said we've cut the edge off? We're going to actually stick that. That's going to have to go. Oh, wow, just fits. You know, as they say, just fits. That one's going to have to go so that that bit is under there. All right, now I've lost my other, there they are, my other stars. Oh, it looks pretty cool actually, if you ask me. So, if I do say so myself. All right, so we'll put, that was a bit of a tight squeeze, so I'm just going to trim some of these down. I'm going to put half of one underneath those two because that was a really tight squeeze under there. I could use a mini, but then I have to find them. You know, everything's not where I want it. Okay. And that one. Right. Did you hear that? She's going. I'm not putting it on there. I'm just stirring it. So on the inside, because we need to write, have somewhere to write. Because, you know, we just do. But let's trim this down. Because they're all joined together, we've got a bit of, you're all going, ah, she just did all that work. And I just did that as crooked as a dog's hind leg. And I don't want it to be crooked. I want it to be straight. How cool does that look? Anyway, so just trim that down. Because we want somewhere to be able to write. All right. Actually, we can write on some yellow cardstock, can't we? No, it doesn't look as good. The white piece is a bit too little. Where did I get those pieces from? They're really little. Need a bigger piece. So let's get a bigger piece. But I'm going to pop those bits in there because they work nicely with our, here's the regular size pieces. That looks better. And we're going to stick those down there like so. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to stick those down there like so. Okay. Look crooked now. Or you can stick them down like that. So it just depends on which way you want, where you want to write. Do you want to write under the flags or above the flags? Yeah, I think we need to go like that as well. So I'm just going to put some glue on these guys. And stick them on here. Fuzzy. Okay. That little one there just does not want to play nice because it's that little bit too, anyway. Okay. And we'll have them coming down from the top essentially, so you can write down underneath them. Okay, so there is our card, and let's stick some stars on our envelope to do some matchy-matchy. And don't have them all going in the same direction, but we want them to match the inside or the outside of our card. So we'll also do pumpkin pie on there as well. Can't have everybody doing the same job. If you're thinking about it, I haven't got black pants on today, so I can't wipe my fingers on my pants. There is our scrap cardstock card. Yes, the tops could have been candles, not a problem. Very easily without inside of flags. Okay, and I also have a spare bit for another card. Okay, so thank you all for joining me. Next week we will look at other scraps, and we might do a mix of scraps of cardstock and scraps of designer series paper, and we'll see what we come up with next week. All right?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Why do we have to do a thumbs up?
Because I'm giving the card. Hi all. Thumbs up.
All right, everyone. We've had 2 visitors today, but all is good. So until next week, check out the online store for if you're looking for your adhesive sheets. This is the one that we used today was called With You in Mind, the stamp set. Lots of cute little things. The girls that have come to class, Chris said hi. A lot of the ladies that come to class have got that stamp set. So if you haven't got that stamp set, you do want to add it to your cart. The other thing is to check out the special 20% off all of our 12 by 12 double-sided two-tone cardstock. So it's fun. Actually, we could do something with that. No, we're going to stick with scraps this month. Okay, all scraps. So scraps again next week. I will see you later because we know we've all got heaps of them. Toodaloo.